Hi guys, and welcome back to Chip's Green World. This week's vlog is going to be all about topiary. I thought it'd be a nice idea to put a special video together to answer all of your questions that you've sent me over the many years. Firstly, we'll be talking about how to keep your box balls in shape, trimming them, pruning them, how to get a box ball thickened up using the monk's crown down and around method, made famous by that Mr. Chips of Chip's World. Great fella, give him a watch, fabulous channel. Also talking about creating topiary to mini topiary, on to rescuing topiary to reshape and create a new style of topiary by stripping the branches upwards and revealing the beauty of the stems. Then talking about repotting your topiary, on older topiary how to rig your root ball down, vigorating and regenerating the root system, keeping your topiary healthy, hand shears, sheep shears, clippers, which are best for you, revealing secrets on how to save hundreds creating large topiary, my methods on keeping immaculate lines on your topiary hedge, how I start a topiary from the very beginning, shabby to chic in a few simple steps. Also talking about different styles of topiary, standard lollipop topiaries, the different methods of trimming your topiary balls using hand shears versus clippers, and then finally talking about how a large topiary is a great idea for screening, such as hedges and trees. And hopefully by the end of this vlog I will have answered all your questions and you'll be so much wiser. So let's do that. So the first question, what's the best way of trimming your topiary box balls to get the perfect shape? And is there any device or equipment that can help you with this? This question came in many forms, and as far as I'm aware there is no device, just different techniques. So here's mine, monk's crown, down and around. Firstly, trim the top of your topiary ball, creating a monk's crown. This will be your starting point, where everything else will be trimmed down from, trimming out at the same depth as you work your way down. Always remembering to keep your blades flat to the ball box. This technique is best used with hand clippers or sheep shears. For hand shears, there's a separate technique which I'll show you further along in the video. At some point in this down and around process you will have to change hands, so it helps to be ambidextrous. If you're not, you will have to go up and over at some point. So that's question 1 answered. Let's enjoy a bit of the process. So there we go, that was a bit of fun. Right, before we go on to hand shear technique, let's answer one more question. What type of shears am I using? These are sheep shears used for shearing sheep. Why do I use sheep shears? From school I went to work in a fashion house. From there I opened my own design studio, so therefore I've had tailor's shears in my hand most of my working life. So it was a natural progression to go towards sheep shears. These are my old sheep shears. These have been in use for over 20 years, and these are the new hand shears and clippers I've been using for the last 3 years. Now let's move straight on to a method of trimming using the hand shears. We're going to be trimming the 2 box balls at the back of the courtyard there using these Spear & Jackson hand shears. And this would be a good point to mention before starting any topiary with any shears or clippers. Make sure your blades are clean and sharp. So it's the same process at the beginning, monk's crown. Trim down to find the top of the topiary ball and then start trimming around and working your way down. But now the process changes slightly as you can't get down and around with hand shears. So there's our monk's crown, very clear. So now start trimming around the ball at a 45-degree angle and keep going all the way round, following the line of your monk's crown, trimming to the same depth. Then once you've gone around the top half section, you can then tidy up and perfect at this point, going over with a finer clip to perfect your ball. Then you can move straight on to the second half of the topiary ball, working your way around, also trimming the bottom of the topiary ball at this point. So that's the 3 stages, and these 3 stages can change depending on how your topiary ball is planted and what it's around. For example, a hard to reach topiary that's planted amongst other shrubs. Not as easy as trimming a topiary in a pot like this one. So more about that coming up. So after stage 3 is complete, this is the time to stop, have a good look and start perfecting. Perfecting will take you slightly longer to do. So let's enjoy a bit of that. And there we go. And now we move on to when you can't get around your topiary ball. In this situation, you have to do all 3 stages at once, which makes it so much more difficult to get right, so remember that when planting. Six more topiary balls done. I hope that goes to show that it's where you plant and place your topiary balls that's going to make it so much more difficult for you to trim. So keep that in mind when planting. And let's move straight on to how to create a topiary ball from the very beginning. So here we have 3 boxwood shrubs. I've downsized the pots because the pots were twice as big, and I'm going to create 3 identical boxwood balls. First giving it the once over, looking for the topiary ball within. Once you can see your topiary ball start to snip away at a 45-degree angle in a motion up and over. After a few snips, your topiary ball will become clear, and then you can start creating your monk's crown, or what will be your monk's crown for all future clips. When buying shrubs to create topiary balls, think of the density of the shrub, and you want something at least twice as big as the topiary ball that you want to create. So to answer many more of your questions, why do you not start with a monk's crown when creating a topiary ball? Simple. You don't actually have a monk's crown to start off with. A monk's crown is trimming down the new growth to find the original topiary ball. As this is not already a topiary ball, you can't trim down to create a monk's crown, as there's no original topiary ball to be found. On a singular stem shrub, such as a conifer or this goldcrest wilma. See your topiary ball, create your monk's crown, down and around. Very different process altogether. Remembering not to take too much off the sides. You want a ball, not an oval. The majority of people take way too much off the sides and end up with an egg shape. Remember, the height should be the same as the width. And if you do end up with an egg shape, I would suggest taking an extra inch off the top, turning it back into a ball. So let's go back to our mini box balls and the best way to get them all to match. Once you've done the first one and you're happy with its shape and size, line the next one up alongside, trim the top to the same height, take the first one away, shape the second one, then repeat with the third one. So let's watch a bit of that. And there we go, 3 little mini topiary balls to sit on the courtyard table. They're not perfect just yet, but a couple of more years with a couple more trims and they'll be beautiful. Now on to dealing with a bit of topiary that is stubborn or refuses to grow at the bottom, or a topiary ball that's slightly gone wrong in the pruning session. My advice, use this opportunity to do something a bit different, be a bit artistic, unique and adventurous. What have you got to lose? So I'm whipping the top off this one and giving it a flat top. And then once I've got a flat top, I'm going down and around. And then once I've finished going around, giving it a light trim just to help it thicken up. And as you can see from this angle, it doesn't look too bad. Needs to thicken up a bit, but this light trim will help it do that. But now you see at this angle, this is where it's refusing to grow. So now I'm going to strip the branches upwards, creating a new topiary, which I think I'm going to call Topiary Flat Top. And once I've got my flat top, I'll focus on pinching any new shoots coming out from underneath, from the branches below. Any low hanging branches, I will prune them off altogether, so I have no greenery at the bottom whatsoever. Sort of like a flat top tree. And there we go. From shabby bush to beautiful tree. Now on to repotting an old topiary that's been in a pot for maybe 10 years, like this one. Using a small rake, rake the root ball down by at least half, And don't be shy, there is no goodness in this soil at this point. And this will help vigorate and regenerate the root system, creating a healthier topiary. And then it's just a case of repotting. You can use new compost, or you can reuse your old compost like I'm doing here and just add a bit of feed. I'm adding bone meal, chicken manure pellets and slow release multi-purpose feed. Mix it in well and you're ready to repot. And as this is a flat top topiary now, it's important to get this level. So my advice, put half the compost in, stand back, make sure it's level, and then continue with the rest of the compost. And there we go. A beautiful flat top topiary, all repotted, gone from backstage to centre stage, and with a bit of pruning will last for another 10 years. And for those of you who are new to the channel, that was Spud. She turned 19 this year. And now let's move on to creating a larger topiary at a fraction of the cost. This size topiary in my local garden centre would have cost me 600 upwards. This one only cost me 130. So how was it done? I purchased 3-foot natural boxwood shrubs. I planted them all in the same pot and then I shaped into a ball using the same technique I used on the 3 mini topiary balls. Simple. This is year 2 and not bad looking at all, and will improve with every clip every year. So let's get on to thickening up a topiary. To get your topiary more dense, clip. The more you clip, the more young shoots you're encouraging to grow. Think of it like this: with every 1 shoot you clip, you encourage 2 new shoots. Right, let's move on to the best way I find to keep your topiary hedge in perfect condition with perfect lines. Hand shears are the best tool for this job, I find, and the key is to keep them flat to your box hedge, using a forward motion and then going back over for a final trim. For a small ornamental hedge like this, I tend to do the top first and then the sides, as it's important as you're looking down on the hedge to keep the width the same all the way around. On a larger hedge, it's probably best to start with the sides and then do the top last, as any side branches that are cut can bounce up and you would have to cut the top again. Once you've finished trimming the top of the hedge, turn your blades in the opposite direction so you can get the perfect width trimming downwards. If you come across any awkward branches that have dropped or fallen lower than the original hedge, trim them off. Once you've got your hedge at the perfect width, turn your blades back around and trim to this depth all the way around. Right, that's that done. Let's move on to a standard topiary or lollipop topiary. I'm going to first rake the root ball down and pot it back up into a terracotta pot, making sure I get it extremely level. It's very important with a standard topiary, as the last thing you want is a perfect topiary ball on top of a wonky stem. So why am I repotting? I prefer my pot to be no bigger than my actual topiary. And when you purchase topiary or shrubs, they generally come in pots that are too big. So therefore, I tend to downsize the pot to suit the topiary. Right, so we've got that all level and straight. We just need to now find the topiary bottom, and there it is. So now we've found the bottom, we can find the top. So going up at a 45-degree angle, carrying on up and over. Once you've found your height, that then gives you your width. Let's drop it down so now we can have a proper look. And now we can create our monk's crown and then work our way down and around. The only thing to remember at this point is your stem must be centered at all times down the center of your topiary ball. And there you go, one beautiful standard topiary. So let's move on to a larger topiary, the topiary tree. This is the home oak. We have 3 of these in the town garden, and we've got the Californian lilac. Both of these were planted for screening purposes, so let's talk about the Californian lilac first. There used to be 3 Californian lilacs here. It used to go from ground level to 8 foot high. It was a full hedge. But as it made the garden way too dark and boring, I removed the 2 either side. Then I stripped the branches upwards to the top of the railings and trained the branches to fan out and fill the full width of the space. It still screens us from cars going past and people walking by, but it still lets the light penetrate through into the garden. This is still a work in progress, and as the Californian lilac flowers all of spring, I tend to prune it back in early summer and then once again in autumn. So let's enjoy a bit of that. So there you go, that's the Californian lilac having its summer prune, and I use secateurs to prune the Californian lilac. It's got a lot of thickening up to do, but it's getting there. So let's move straight on to the home oak. I planted these 3 to screen the front lounge window from the neighbouring properties over the road, and they're settling in beautifully and doing a great job. And this is the mighty home oak. It makes great topiary as a collective or as a singular topiary. It's great for screening and doesn't mind being pruned. I'm pruning mine into 3 cones, and it's the same principle. The more you prune, the more it will thicken up. So let's enjoy a bit of that. And there you go, guys, and that brings us to the end of this topiary vlog. I hope I've answered most of your questions, if not all. If I haven't, leave a comment down below. And that's it for Chip's Green World this week. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you all very soon. Okay, bye now.